We're in the last chapter of Sefer Yetzira, the 6th chapter, and we've been discussing the 32 forces that were chosen by the divine in order to create a dress for his glory and reveal to various degrees his wisdom until we can know to appreciate it and interact with it directly. And so everything that was given to us as way of instruction is only an introduction to how we're going to meet this great force that is the root of all spirits. If we meet him, we interact with him. This is the goal. Once we interact with him, then no longer do we need any instruction. All instruction comes from him. But this is not a theoretical thing. This is not something we want to fantasize about. We don't want to pretend like we have already found him when we didn't find him. This is very dangerous because it means we don't yet have the balance between the forces. There's still conflict. We're still in a lower world. And we start pretending as if, oh, we have attained the glory. This is the real thing. So this is something that the soul has to be very careful from. And this would be something that the teachers who would take on students in order to guide them through the process would be able to tell the students when they are ready to proceed to the realization that the spirit that resides within them is that Holy Spirit that is the source and the root of all the worlds. Until then, the assumption was that the spirit that's revealing itself within the person is not the accurate spirit that is reflecting the 32. This is some type of a smaller spirit, a fallen spirit that has gotten injured somehow and therefore is expressing some type of a reality that is a lower reality that doesn't reflect the authority of the root of the spirit within all spirits. And then, after the suffering came to the world, after the conflict and the wars entered within humanity, the teachers could no longer find anyone who they can approve that they have realized the spirit. And then the understanding of the tradition started getting lost. Because there was no longer the one that can explain it to us, the one that knows himself as that. And so it became more of assumptions about who is that one, what would he be like, what would he want, how can we behave in a way so that he would want to become us, so that he would want to reveal himself from within us. This was the beginning of religion. This was the beginning of tradition. People who have realized the Great Spirit, instructing those who haven't realized the Great Spirit, you want to prepare yourself, you want to become him. This is what you're going to have to comply with. This is what you're going to have to understand. This is what you're going to have to realize within yourself before the Great Spirit can safely reveal itself from within you, and there will be no harm to the self or to the environment, the humans around. There can be great harm if the wrong person is revealed as that spirit. And this is where we've had false prophets, people who claim to be that great spirit. But according to our tradition, they were not that great spirit. They were some type of an injured form of that great spirit, which we all are. When the injured form of the spirit speaks, it doesn't have the best interests of reality at heart. It has some type of an axe to grind. It has some type of an agenda. This is why it is saying what it is saying. It has been offended by something. It wants to receive something. It wants to create more power for itself. It wants to realize its own version of reality, which is actually a fantasy. All of these are causes where spirits will start to represent themselves as the great spirit, the clean spirit, but in reality they are something else. They are a fallen spirit. We are all fallen spirits. Some have fallen further than others. And so in order to know how to please the Spirit, we need to get to know the aspects of the Spirit that get revealed within us. With every aspect of the Spirit that we will align with the Spirit, more likely the Spirit will be able to reside within us and reveal itself from within us. And so if the Spirit has the attribute of wisdom, by being wise, I am preparing myself as a vessel so that the Spirit can reside within me. If there is ignorance, the Spirit cannot be revealed because we're lacking one of its attributes, we're lacking one of its principles that it requires for revelation. If in the source there's kindness, there must be kindness in the Spirit that wants to emulate the source, that wants to realize the great Spirit within itself. If in the great Spirit there is courage, the great Spirit is able to go into situations that look extremely difficult, where we defy the odds, and yet the great Spirit goes there. Like we see when David HaMelech stands in front of Goliath. This is the Spirit. That's the Spirit that we're talking about. Him we're trying to emulate. He was so attached to life and to reality that this is what was necessary. He was going to do it. And so we need courage in order to emulate the Spirit. If we want the Spirit to reside within us, we need courage. We need to be able to confront the things that will offend the great Spirit. And the same goes for the vessels. The 10 spheres, we have to emulate the spheres. We have to be hadbeg b'midosav, to attach ourselves, to cling to his attributes if we want him to reveal himself through us. And also in the vessels, we need to have clean vessels to contain him. If we want for him to be able to reside within us, and he has ears, he can hear, our ears have to be refined in order for him to reveal himself within us. If he can see, our eyes have to be refined in order for him to reside within us. If he will come within us and our eyes are used to seeing things that are very offensive to him, then that's not going to be good. Therefore, what will happen? He's not going to come in the first place. V'nishmarto mikol davar ra. You have to protect yourself from any form of evil. Why? Ki Hashem Elohecha hoilech bekirbecha. There's a force that wants to dwell here. You want to allow him to dwell, don't offend him. Things that are offensive to him, he will not reveal himself. And so these 32 forces represent the 32 things that we must designate to the source. Everything else you can give away, because it doesn't really exist in the first place. These you must protect, because they are the dwelling place of the divine. If you want to one day be able to believe that you are divine, then you have to protect these 32 manifestations of the divine so that he can live there and it can get along. Things will work. This belief is the only reality. We can be no one else. But boy, can we think we're someone else. If we couldn't think we're someone else, there wouldn't be conflict. And so wherever there's conflict, it means people very strongly believe that they are something else. And so if you ever want to realize the truth, prepare for that truth. Otherwise the truth will not come in. Why? Because it's going to be dangerous. And so every organ, every form of activity. Refine, refine, refine. More and more appropriate. You're trying to imagine over here what the king of the universe would consider a good investment in order to create everything that you know about and more. You're trying to justify his intention. Give it your best shot. And then, when you've been at it for a little while, come again and give it your best shot. And keep doing that. Because what he really wants is he wants to see that you are serious. He wants to reveal himself within you because he's already that. He knows it. But he wants to see that he has someone that will take him seriously. He hasn't been taken seriously for a while. People have done many things in his name. But he, the one that is, hasn't been taken seriously, even while they were doing what they were doing in his name. And so why should you align yourself with all his attributes? Because he wants to see that you're serious. If you're serious, ooh, what he can give you. Ooh, what he can show you. Ooh, how he can explain himself well. He has an explanation for every detail of every experience. Not only what happened outside, also what happened inside. Everything is clear, everything is organized. But is this vessel ready to hear it? In order for the vessel to be ready to hear it, it has to refine the 32 dwelling places of the divine. To make it as divine as possible before we go requesting for more. Because anything that's not accurate, when the real life reveals itself, it's not going to feel right. It's not going to be good. And the truth will for sure reveal itself. The truth is always waiting to reveal itself. The truth is always present. It's just that our body can think otherwise. The body gives us the power to argue with the truth. Without the body, no one can argue with the truth. And so we want to align with that truth. We want to discover that truth. It's a very subtle truth. It's very deep. We're thousands of years away from being able to relate to how subtle. We're not alive enough to even appreciate how deep it can go. And yet we have to show ourselves at the door. We have to knock at the door. Knocking on heaven's door. And to show up means to go as close as we can to what we believe would be a justification for creating humanity. This is his glory. He made humanity for his glory's sake. He gave us a mouth so that we can glorify. He didn't give it to us so we can complain about it and feel better. This is a manipulation. He gave us a mouth so that we can glorify it. Why? Because it feels real good. If there was glory, it would feel the way that it's supposed to feel. It would be electrified. The fact that we have what we have would justify all the effort it takes of having it. We wouldn't need to prove anything. We wouldn't need to outdo ourselves. We don't need to go through all these stressors of competition. If there was glory, all this would go away. This is what happens when there's no glory. When we need to justify something, when we need to prove ourselves, when the way that he made it is not good enough. And so we want to know how to glorify His name. We want to be able to experience what He designed for us directly. And the ticket in is wisdom. The ticket to wisdom is Yiras Shamayim, taking life seriously. Someone made this. Someone wanted this. Someone very wise and very powerful. And someone designed this to be just so, exactly this way, without any change, without any possibility of doing it any different, but this way exactly. And we want to reveal His glory. It's His. We want to give it back to Him. We want to surrender what's His back to Him. We tried to run it, didn't work out. Here, you can have it back, sir. It's yours. Sorry we interfered. And so here in the 6th chapter, he's going to review the 32 forces. And then he's going to tell us that from the times of Avraham Avinu, 4,000 years ago, this is where the beginning of civilization took place. These understandings were still available then, but they already knew that a time is coming that's going to be very dark for this human soul. A time is coming where the dark side of the moon is going to be in charge. And there, wisdom doesn't shine. And so they prepared for us whatever they could. They kept it alive as long as they could. And then, towards the end of the darkness, we are supposed to search for it. We're supposed to pray for it. We're supposed to invest ourselves in it in order to regain what has been lost, in order for humanity to return, to heal their souls, to remember their commitment, to remember their truth. And so here he says in the first Mishnah, Shlosh Ovas v'Toldusein, 3 fathers and their children, meaning the 3 forces that created the 3 elements, fire, air, and water. V'Shiva Kechovim, the 7 stars. V'Tzivasein, and all their soldiers. Ishnemus Gvila Lachsoinen, and the 12 borders, the diagonal borders that we discussed. These are the 22 letters. V'Raya L'Dover Edem Namonim Olam Shana Nefesh. The proof that these are related and they're coming from the same source is how they exist in time, in space, and in consciousness. And so we've identified the forces as we can see them in the different dimensions, and this proves that there is one source, that there is one desire that created all of them and created them together to work together, just like we see in the human body, where all the individual forces of the body are acting together in order to create the body. And so this proves that there is one at the root of it. The same goes for the spirit. The fact that the spirit unites all the spirits over time and then creates conclusions, this proves that there is one spirit where all these spirits are included. There's one spirit that somehow includes all these spirits. There's a root to where all of these branches go back. So this is called Chak Shnei Masar V'Shiva Shloisha, the rule of the law of 12, of 7, and of 3. So meaning wherever we'll find these numbers in nature, we're going to know that it relates back to the original place where we find these numbers in nature, and this is where the law was created. These are the laws of the physical space, the emotional space, and the spiritual space. And within these, we exist. Between all these dimensions, we exist. Ipkidam betali vegalgal velev. The way that they run their management happens through Tali, Galgal, and Lev. Tali is the place where all the 12 zodiac signs are hanging. The zodiac itself, the place where all the 12 are hanging, is called Tali. It's called the big hanger that's holding the whole zodiac. And so that Tali is one place where management is taking place. That's the management of space, from where he projects all the stars and all of them get their position. Galgal is the wheel, is the cycle, like the lunar cycle and the solar cycle. These are all Galgalim. So Galgal is the management of time. All these different cycles create time. And Lev, the heart, is the manager of consciousness. So we have the management of space, the Tali, the management of time, the Galgal, and the management of consciousness, the Lev.
Tali b'tav?
Tali b'taf, כמו לתלות. Shlosh esh umayim veruach, the three elements, fire, water, and air. Esh lamala, mayim lamata, veruach chok machria b'intayim. Fire goes up, water goes down, and the air is the law that divides between them, that gives them their manifestation. So the fire goes up, meaning back to the root. The root is the infinite. The fire is always taking things back to their infinite potential, while the water gives them sustenance in order to create a specific manifestation. And so the water gives life so that it can take on form, and the fire brings a life that removes form. And so this is why water represents life and fire represents death. Death meaning the elements go back to their roots and they take on a new form. Similar דבר. האש נושאת המים. The fire carries the water because the fire is pulling up and the water is pulling down, and so therefore it's like the fire is the carrier of the water. Mem, the memes, the mem of the water is the memes. The sound of the mem is this represents water, like a humming sound of the mem. Shin shorekes, the sound of fire is shh. And so that friction is what represents fire. Aleph chok machria b'netayim, the air is is in the middle of these two. And so these sounds, these vibrations animate the body. When we make these vibrations, they have an impact on our organs. Our organs know these vibrations. This is part of the design. The original speech was designed with these vibrations, with an understanding of how these vibrations affect the body. The next Mishnah, Tali ba'olam kemelech al kisoi. The Tali in the world, in space, is like a king on his throne, because the Tali is not going through any experiences. The Tali is constantly feeding the same things. To create space, he's feeding the same forces and he's staying constant. And so there, the force that gives life is like a king on his throne. No one is coming to conquer his land. Space has the freedom to spread out all its forces, and this is like the divine throne upon which sits the will. Galgal b'shona kemelech b'mdina. The Galgal, the cycles that create time, there the king is already not on his throne. He's like amongst others. He's within his country, because in the times there's already different times when certain attributes are going to be more revealed or other attributes are going to be more revealed. There are times that there's weakness, there are times where there's violence, and so here it's no longer a peaceful existence to this life force that animates time. The life force that animates time takes on moods. The metaphor for these moods are the human moods. Originally these moods were all positive moods, but after the Eitzadas Toivera, these moods can sometimes turn negative also. And this is the danger. The danger of the moods when the king feels threatened and he's causing bad decrees. Lev benefesh kemelech b'milchama. The heart within consciousness, within the soul, is like a king at war. Not like in space, where he is on his throne, not like in time, where he is in the country, but now the king is fully at war. When he is alive within the heart, there are all these forces pulling and tugging at him. There are so many things that want to conquer him. There are so many things that want to defeat him. The force comes in and he's at war. He has to protect his turf. All forms of desire were created by the divine, and they were created one against each other. Tov lo masra. There's good against evil. This is the dimension of consciousness. In the dimension of space, there are 6 directions. In the dimensions of time, there's the back and the forth. And in the dimensions of consciousness, there's good and evil. And so he created good against evil in order to create the dimension of consciousness that can remove itself from him. When we're united with him, we're on the side of good. When we move against him, we're on the side of evil. And so he created both sides. Tov mi tov, good comes from good, v'ra mi ra, and evil happens from evil. Ha-tov mavchen es ha-ra, the good is what defines the evil. V'ra mavchen es ha-tov, the evil defines the good. Tov shmura le-tovim, good is reserved for the good. V'ra shmura le-roim, and evil is reserved for the evil. Every time we are dressing up the divine, we're inviting the divine. And the divine always shows up when we invite him. But he shows up according to how we invited him. And this is why we don't necessarily like the way that he shows up. And so when one invites the good shall come. When one invites the evil comes. This is part of the design. This is in order to teach us wisdom. Because if everything was the same, we wouldn't learn wisdom. In order for us to know wisdom and to get to know the design of the worlds, he created the possibility for us to go with it and the possibility for us to go against it. And this is how we learn. The next Mishnah, Shloisha kol echad levad oimed. The three elements, they stand alone, each one. Sheva chaluken shloisha mul shloisha v'chok machriya b'netayim. 7 is a number where there are 3 to one side, 3 to the other side, and there's 1 in the middle. 3 are pulling to the right in order to be dan lekav schus, in order to see the innocence, see the merit. 3 are dan lekav choivet, those want to see the guilt. And then there's one who decides in the middle. 12 amdim bil milchama, the 12 are constantly balancing each other. 3 ahavim, 3 sonim, 3 of them love, and 3 of them hate. 3 mechaim, the 3 that love are the ones that give life. 3 memisim, the 3 that hate are the ones that take life. 3 ahavim, the 3 that love. Halev va'oznaim va'peh, the heart, the ears and the mouth. 3 sonim, hakoved va'mora va'loshen, the 3 enemies are the liver, the gallbladder, and the tongue. The tongue, when it speaks what it's not supposed to speak, this is what causes all the damage. Humanity believes so little of themselves that they don't assume that their speech is meaningful. But even while they believe little of themselves, their speech is still causing life to happen. It's still causing the interpretation, the narrative of what life is going to mean. And so the tongue is counted together with the liver and the gallbladder, which are the ones that actually feel the anger, the frustration in the body. The heart wants calm in order to be able to create its production. But the liver is the one that gets frustrated, and then there could be more acid coming from the gallbladder. The force that is the loyal king is in charge of them all. One is on top of 3. This is the one that is above the 3, which is the 3 elements. The 3 elements are on the 7 duplicates. The 7 duplicates are on the 12. Simple letters, and they're all united as one. As we can see in the body, there's all these different functions and all these different organs creating the functions, and they all work together. This is the demonstration of the unity in order to glorify His name. Now he says in the last Mishnah, V'chiven shetzofa Avram Avinu saw this. Tzofa means he saw it in his own heart. He was so close to his heart that he realized the nature of the truth by observing himself. He saw the forces animating him. He learned them from seeing them directly in his experience. It became an experiential reality for Avram Avinu. V'hibit v'ro v'chokar v'heven. And so he gave all his attention to it, and he was investigating it, and he tried to gain understanding. V'chokak v'chotzav v'tzoraf, and he engraved, and he carved, and he combined. V'tzar, and he designed, he drew. V'alsa b'yodai, and he managed to gain access to the spirit that resides within all spirits. That is the source and the reason for the revelation that we are experiencing. Even when there is complete concealment, this is a form of revelation. Revelation means, hey, there is something is happening. This is a revelation of the divine. If I know what is happening, this is a deeper revelation. But the fact that something is happening, this is a revelation of the divine. Right now, there's a revelation of the divine. To the extent that I can tune into this revelation, then I can gain the Holy Spirit, I can gain prophecy, I can unite with the Spirit that is within all spirits. To the extent that the revelation is concealed, I don't see the glory, I don't experience the joy, then I don't yet have access to the Great Spirit. There's still a fallen spirit. And so Avram Avinu, he saw and he understood the importance, and he put the picture together, and he came to the realization, Az nigla olav Adon HaKol, then revealed himself to him, the master of all, Baruch Hu, blessed be he, V'shivei b'chaykoi, and he sat him in his lap, V'noshkoi al roshay, and he kissed him on his head, V'kara Yehavi, and he called him my lover. V'karas lebris, and he created the bond with him. Elazaroi, the bond, the covenant of the bris milah, of circumcision, removing the arla, removing the foreskin, which represents the other side, the side that is using life in a way that is not accurate, that is not pure, that is not within the interest or the taste of the divine spirit that's trying to reveal itself. And so when we come into the world, we're going to inherit the world that's giving us all types of interpretations of life. And removing the foreskin represents removing the interpretations that are not accurate to the will of the divine, the one that designed us. And so he cursed lebris ben eser etzbos raglav, between his 10 toes. V'hi bris hamila, this is the bris milah. He made a covenant with him how to manifest life. This organ represents the manifestation of life. He made a covenant with him. What is the right intention for manifesting life? What is the right recipe for creating a proper human being? What is the right thought pattern? What are the right emotions? This is all part of the covenant. He also gave him a covenant between the 10 fingers of the hands, and this is the tongue. How do you speak? What are you supposed to do when you speak? Speech was given for a purpose. The covenant is that we use speech only for that purpose, so that we don't cause damage to the world with the power of speech. He tied 22 letters to his tongue. And he revealed to them their origins, their roots. He revealed to him all the letters and their vibrations and what they mean in the higher realms. Which forces do they represent? And what happens when we use these letters in order to create speech? Mashchan b'mayim, he pulled them in the water. Dolkam b'esh, he lit them in fire. Ra'ashan baruach, he made noise with them in the wind, in the air. Ba'aran b'shiva, he burned them up in 7. Nahagam b'shnei maseh mazoles, and he leads them with the 12 personalities of the zodiac. And so he taught him how to use these letters in order to interact with the forces of nature. He taught him how speech is in charge of the elements, how speech guides the organs, how speech expresses the forces of the divine. All 32 forces are sensitive to speech, to human speech. And even just the vibrations that we make have a profound effect on reality. Our greatness cannot be comprehended by our minds. But the power that we have is still real, even while we can't comprehend it. Even when we think ourselves small, what's taking place remains big. And so the world is waiting for an awakening. The world is waiting for a time when humanity is going to know themselves. When humanity is going to stop violating their own dignity. When the soul is going to be able to return. When the spirit is going to want to reveal itself within us. It's going to be safe for us to know the truth. And on that day, he will be one, because he always is and always will be. And his name will be one, because we will know him accurately. May it happen now.